Good news! Are we about to talk about a cancer-fighting three-legged hero dog?
Yes.
Am I in my feels about it?
Obvious.
Welcome to Lakeland, Minnesota. Gus is a 6-year-old golden doodle. He had to have a tumor removed, and then when he went to a follow-up appointment at the University of Minnesota, they found another one, so they cut his leg off. That seems so violent. On Easter Sunday, he spots an emergency on the frigid San Croix River. A tiny baby otter is struggling, and without hesitation, Gus leaps into action. He swims out to the baby otter, and a short time later, he returns to the shore. In his mouth, that tiny baby otter, which he gently lays at the feet of his human. His human washes the baby up and then rushes it to the Wildlife Rehab Center. The Wildlife Rehab Center said Gus is gonna be A-okay, but the otter was way too little to be out of his den and away from his mom, and without Gus, he would have not survived. The otter is now in another rehab center, and Gus is the best dog ever. You get an award, I hope. Good news! So I had this friend when I was a kid. Actually, we're still friends. And she was super smart. In fact, she was so smart, she got to skip to second grade. We were all dazzled. Am I dazzled now? No! Yeah, still I am a little. I thought it was cool. So this sort of relates to our good news story today. Let me just get into it. Elliot Tanner is just 13. He's getting ready to graduate from the University of Minnesota. For the last 4 years, he's been studying physics and math. Elliot wants to become a theoretical physicist and ultimately a professor of physics at the University of Minnesota. He just got accepted into the University of Minnesota's physics PhD program. His parents are now trying to figure out how to pay for it. Now, imagine this. You're pursuing your PhD in physics at the University of Minnesota, and your professor is 26. He has been doing this job for 10 years. That could happen. Elliot's mom said that he started reading by the age of 3. When he was 8 or so, he finished up his curriculum for high school. He'd been homeschooled, and by 9, he's in college. Meanwhile, my goal is to get more TikTok followers than my radio station 92.9 The Beat out of Springfield, Missouri has listeners in their market. Hey, listen, we all can't be math geniuses, okay? I am definitely not. Good news. Y'all know where the Colorado Rockies play? You know, in Denver, at Coors Field. Coors Field. Well, apparently they have a lot of feral cats at that field, which I guess I expect that for Denver. A woman named Jenny Lee was like, no more! All these cats are getting a home. So she went to catching and rescuing the cats of Coors Field. What she'd do was she'd catch them, then she'd spay and neuter them, and then she'd return them back to the field. But some of those cats don't want to be wild. They want to be tamed. They're self-domesticated. With those cats, Jenny tries to find a home for them. So next time you're rooting for the Rockies, there should be less cats around the field trying to pick up what's left of your nachos. Good news. So Ben Miller, he's 9 years old. He's from Idaho, and he loves animals. In fact, he loves animals so much that he spent the last couple of years, keep in mind he's only 9 years old, raising money for the Idaho Humane Society, the IHS. Mostly he's been running lemonade stands, and frankly, it's been a huge success. On one weekend alone, he recently donated $1,150 to the IHS. Good job, Ben. You're better than most adults I know. Good news! Hello, class. Today we'll be riding on the Magic School Bus. Hi, Florida. You're looking good. Our good news is from Florida, and that's why I'm in flirt mode. So over the weekend, there is this apartment fire in Florida. Inside the apartment, a 1-year-old girl, her mom, and her grandma. The three, they're struggling to escape this burning building. They're on the 3rd floor balcony, and the flames, well, they're not backing down. That's when Deputy William Pazinski knows that he has to do something. So he starts scaling the building, climbing to the 2nd floor balcony. He grabs the baby from the mom and lowers her down to safety. The mother and the grandmother, they're later rescued by a ladder. Nobody's hurt in all of this, but the mom did find the deputy after this and gave him a big hug. Good news. So this is a pretty cool story from our neighbors to the north. We're in Canada. So in Nova Scotia, a beloved taxi driver, John McClellan, passes from this life into the next. Well, he did back in 2018. I'll get to the good news, I promise, because it's his legacy that you're gonna wanna hear about. He drove a taxi there for 63 years. He retired at age 89 after a stroke. Behind, he'd left what I'd consider to be a fortune, $1.68 million. And it's just now been made public exactly what he did with that money. He gifted the money in monthly increments to the St. Martha's Regional Hospital. It was the largest donation that the hospital had ever had. The group didn't even realize how big the donation was until they got that final payment sometime last year. The money's now an endowment, and they plan to pay for more medical training and to buy hospital equipment with it. Good news. Good news! Hello to the Golden State. We're soaking up the rays of sunny California, where a police department has committed to doing a year of random acts of kindness. This month, the Oceanside Police Department has been passing out $100 bills, Benjamins, to people at the grocery store to help them pay for their groceries. Not drugs. Not drugs. Maybe drugs, it's cash. I'm just kidding. I don't know why people would buy drugs with police money. Okay, let's get to the how they were able to do this. Last year, there's a donor. That donor participates in a Secret Santa program, and through that, they discover just a little bit of kindness can go a long way. So they donate $20,000 to the department. That enables the department to continue on their random acts of kindness through the rest of the year, which makes me think that they were already doing this last year, but I wasn't sure on that little detail. So really, this is a community effort. And you know what? This is perfect timing to be passing out Benjamins at the grocery store. Have you been to the grocery store lately? I went this week and it was $70. For just me! So if my local police department is seeing this, hey, okay. I've made myself uncomfortable. Good news. Okay, question. Who among us goes magnet fishing? I don't, but it does look pretty cool. If you don't know what magnet fishing is, basically you attach a heavy-duty magnet to a heavy-duty fishing pole and fishing line, and you throw it into the water and see what you can reel up. It has to be a metal object, of course. And to be honest, this kind of scares me a little bit. Because in my mind, and though I know this is irrational, I think if I go magnet fishing, I'll reel in a body. Like maybe a guy got a metal femur put in, and then he got offed, and his body was disposed of in a major waterway, and I reel it in, and now I'm involved in a murder case. That's not reasonable. Either way, I don't want to be involved, so. I bring up magnet fishing because last month in England, a father and son, they go out magnet fishing. They reel in a small safe from the bottom of a river. Inside, $2,000. Now, they could have just zipped their lips and kept the money, but they're not buttholes, so they go on a mission to find the owner of the safe. Turns out that safe was stolen from a business 22 years ago. The owner was so grateful, the son got a reward and a job offer once he got out of school. Good news! Lester Wright was a track star. He's a runner, he's a track star. In the 1930s. He's now 100 years old and he is still running. Running. I'll stop with the music. Over the weekend, the now centenarian broke a world record for his age group in the 100-meter dash in the Penn Relays in Philadelphia. His competition, tough. 2 men 20 years at least his junior. Lester beat the previous record that was set back in 2015 by Donald Pellman by less than a second. And if you know anything about sprinting, records are made and broke in milliseconds. Aside from being a world record holder, you should know some personal stuff about Lester. In the 1930s, he married his teen sweetheart. They're still married, 80 years together. He went to college on the GI Bill, and he opened up the first black dental lab in his community. Good news! The headline reads, "Emotional Support Pig Saves War Vet from House Fire," and I could not be more my feels after reading that. This is a good news story out of New Jersey. Gilbert and Hamilton, or Hammy as he's known, have been together for 6 years and they are BFFs for life. Hammy is the pig. Gilbert is the war veteran. Gilbert was a combat medic in the Navy. He served for 12 years, including a tour in Afghanistan. And from all that, he has PTSD. A fire takes everything from Gilbert, and it might have taken his life had it not been for Hamilton. So the house fire starts in the garage, and that's where Hamilton lives. Hamilton, you should know, is trained to open and close doors. And they're thinking that as the flames started to heat up in the garage, Hamilton was like, I don't want to be bacon, so he walks out the door and closes it behind him. And that likely gave Gilbert, who was asleep upstairs, an extra 15 minutes or so to get out of the house. Eventually, the smoke, it wakes up Gilbert. He runs downstairs. He even runs in the garage to see where Hamilton is at. He then finds Hamilton in the backyard grazing. Good news. So Robin Bell, she's from upstate New York. She loves deals. She loves shopping for deals. Robin is my type of lady. She often goes to estate sales and thrift stores, and she likes to find antique pieces of furniture, and she restores them. Occasionally in these antique pieces of furniture, she will find family memorabilia, like photos. And she never thought, oh, I'll be able to reunite these photos with the family of which they belong, until she did. So Robin bought a 120-year-old washstand, and what does she find inside? What she normally does, some family photos. They're formal high school photos, there's a photo of an older couple, there's even a photo of 2 kids smiling with a dog. Well, Robin, she gets on Facebook, she does some sleuthing. She even takes money out of her own pocket and boosts an ad on Facebook Marketplace saying, hey, I found these photos, can you please share this? I'm trying to reunite the photos with the family. She has a few folks reach out with some tips and advice, pointing her in the right direction, no doubt, but none of those pan out. But then one of them does, and she's able to reconnect these photos with the family of which they belong. The moral of this story, always check the drawers before you donate furniture. Good news!